Hey guys, PIEGUYRULZ here, and I need to give a little bit of a warning here. Um, in this video, I'm going to be talking about some relatively serious things, and by relatively I mean extremely serious things. I'm going to be talking about things that are political in nature slightly, and I try to keep my channel to be a fun place. I talk about cartoons because I think that's just kind of a fun thing to talk about. I think it's a nice escapism from the real world. Um, but every so often, I feel the need to talk about something I'm passionate about. And this is something that's kind of also beginning to affect the cartoon community, so to speak. So I kind of need to talk about this. If you don't want to hear that, I understand, and please click away now. And if you're of a younger age, I would probably also suggest doing that because this isn't going to be a very fun video. So recently, there was this fan artist named Zami. She posted a lot to Tumblr, a lot to DeviantArt. And she did a lot of anime stuff and mostly a lot of Steven Universe stuff. And apparently, over the past while, she's been getting a lot of criticism for her work because she does things like draw Rose in a slightly skinnier manner than most, that she's portrayed on the show. And same thing with Amethyst, and she's also drawn I think like Japanese versions of characters and things like that. I scrolled through her art and nothing struck out as unusual to me, really. Yeah, she drew the characters slightly different than they're usually portrayed in the show. But that's kind of what an artist does. That's what fan art is a lot of the time. It's not just, hey, let's copy what we've seen on the show. It's instead, let's create something a little bit different. Let's do a different art style. Let's do, a weird mashup of, two characters fused together. Well, that happens on Steven Universe, but you know what I mean. I looked through her stuff, and nothing seemed really out of the ordinary to me, but there's a lot of people in the online space that go by this mantra that everything is racist, everything is sexist, everything's homophobic, and you have to point it all out. This is a quote. I may have paraphrased the order of that, but it's almost a direct quote from Miss Anita Sarkeesian. I believe Lacey Green said something recently that was pretty much the same exact thing. And this is just kind of a mantra amongst social justice warriors, I'll say. These people online that have this idea in their head that pretty much everything, every interpretation of everything is belittling to some demographic, some culture, or something, and you gotta stand up and be proud and say you are wrong and sexist and you're bad and you're terrible and we need to kick you off the internet. So when talking about this story, there's honestly a lot of things that I need to kind of address, but the first thing is that these are basically what happened to this girl is that a lot of these people saw her art and were not pleased. They didn't like that Rose was shown as skinny, as kind of what is perceived to be like the beautiful kind of natural skinny girl. Instead of on the show she's not. I wouldn't even say she's really like pudgy. She's like physically large, like tall, large. But she is definitely a big character. And that's also reflected in Steven. Steven's a bit pudgy too, so they're obviously kind of trying to say a little something in the show about Rose's size and stuff, but it's it's never like a big deal. And so obviously I don't care if you want to draw Rose skinny or whatever. I don't care how they interpret it, but these people very much care, and they see it as basically you are shaming Rose for being big and trying to say that she needs to be small or something, or you're belittling people of large size having a representation in media or something because you drew a character in an interpretation in the interpretation that you wanted to make. They said that, and basically when these people hone in on something that's super, I guess, ableist in the case, maybe. I'm not up on all their stupid terms for everything, but this is something that is problematic in their eyes, they hone in and they go for the kill. And just hordes of these people posted nasty things about this girl and her art, and saying she's absolutely wrong and she needs to apologize and take down her art and do all these sorts of things. And I guess the next thing I need to get into here is about criticism. Now, if you know me, you know I am very, very open to criticism, and I think that criticism is very necessary to push anything forward. I think there needs to be criticism of art and everything. And I think, you know what, if you have the opinion that her art is ableist or whatever, you should be able to share that opinion, and you should be able to, say it and express that you don't like the art. I don't have a problem with that part of it. But the problem is that these people aren't happy saying they don't like something. They say, sorry, I think there's something going on outside. They say, I'm not happy with this and it needs to be destroyed. That's just that's their mantra, right? And of course, this isn't some girl, saying all African American people must die in a picture of like beheading, 10 black guys or something. She didn't do that, that. Not that I would justify trying to bully, do physically harm this person or trying to get this person physically harmed because of that. But what I'm saying is that this girl didn't even do anything that was openly racist or sexist or harmful to anyone. She's not openly being prejudiced. She drew something that's her interpretation of something, and these people see it as sexist and or whatever, ableist, but that doesn't make it what her intention ever was, and her intentions clearly aren't that. If you look through her stuff, she's not trying to make any statement about anything. It's just how she wanted to draw the character. So to the point where you're saying that shouldn't exist and she should apologize and stuff, that's, to quote the great Lebowski, that's like your opinion, man. And you're allowed to have that opinion, but the point at which you pile on to her and just write, dedicate several blogs talking about how she's a horrible person and this needs to be just taken off the internet, it's, to quote the latest episode of Steven Universe, too far. That's way too far. That's way beyond the line. And it's like, art is supposed to challenge you sometimes. Whatever happened to that where you look at a piece of art and you're like, this makes me uncomfortable, and that was a good thing. It was good that it was getting you to think and think about how you view things. I'm not saying that this girl was making art that's supposed to challenge the nature of humans, but if you're offended, good. That's good. You're starting a dialogue about something, that's opening up interpretations, but clearly this girl's intent wasn't to do this, and clearly she isn't doing anything that's blatantly, openly horrible and attacking anyone. If anyone, the only person who can get offended by this is the fictional character, right, of all, and it's ridiculous. And then, even if she was saying these racist, homophobic, or whatever things, even if she did intentionally do those things, which from what I saw, that's not who she is. But let's say a person does that, you have every right to call them out and say, don't do this, you're horrible, this is a horrible thing to do. But trying to convince them to kill themselves and to encourage it, and when they attempt it, saying, good, she deserved it. No. I'm sorry, that's not right. You cannot pull the ends justifies the means, especially on someone. She's only, I think she's 20 years old. She's a little younger than me. Especially on someone, I mean, I'm not saying she's like a little kid, but it's not, it's not right, man. No matter what, call it for what you think it is, but don't push it to the point where the person wants to kill themselves. That's, which is what ended up happening. She tried to commit suicide, and luckily it didn't work. But this clearly messed her up. And okay, so to recap so far, it's okay to give criticism and to be critical, but it's not okay to encourage her to harm herself or to jump on a mob, what is clearly a mob of people. Once something has been said 100,000 times, you don't need to say it anymore, to her, and especially to her, because this isn't, it's not like they really stopped at her art. They started criticizing who she was as a person based upon her art, which is way too far, way over the line for someone who's making art. Like, that's just not, that's absolutely not cool. I mean, you could say you don't like her art, you think she's a bad artist, but like saying she deserves this or that, not cool. Um, so yeah, what else do I want to talk about? Because again, there's a lot of things here. Oh, well, suicide. Okay. Even if it is the person's responsibility to not kill themselves, it is absolutely, you can absolutely heavily influence someone to do that, and doing that is disgusting and wrong. And even if it is in that person's hands, whether they do it or not, heavily influencing it's absolutely 100% wrong. And that's how I feel about it, is that I don't, and no matter what, I don't care what that person did or who they are, unless they're like a mass murderer. If we're talking about that, then fine. But if for speaking on simply this girl's art and this girl's beliefs, if you think she deserves to kill herself because of that, then you are so wrong, and that is such a disgusting mindset to be in. And I guess the other thing I want to say is just that don't judge the Steven Universe fan base for this. Obviously, a lot of people that were ragging on this girl were fans of the show and were people who like progressivism to the extreme, and who like the show because it is very diverse. Please do not judge Steven Universe fans by this action, because Steven Universe is a TV show. It's not an ideology. It's not like this was some religious extremist group that attacked her, and you could say, well, yeah, maybe there's something wrong within this religion that's causing this. Steven Universe is a TV show that can be enjoyed by anyone. So there's nothing within the show that is causing this problem. It's just that it appeals to a lot of different people, and unfortunately, some of these people are going to be the incredibly super hypersensitive, super hyper offended, and super hyper, if I'm offended, I must go after that person and ruin their lives kind of person. Unfortunately, the show's going to draw those people. It's also going to draw a ton of other people. If the show is preaching anything, it's just to love and to be happy and respect everyone. That's the only thing it's preaching, if anything. And the show is popular, and that's why, you're going to have a particularly large group of crazy people. Look at any popular show. Look at any show, and you're going to find crazy people in the fandom. But look at any popular show, and you're going to find a lot of them, and that's simply because there's just a lot of people. So don't judge Steven Universe based on this, and don't judge the fans of it or any fandom of it. If you're going to judge anyone, judge these people who just take it way too far, and don't take it too far yourselves. There is, I think what this is a symptom of, again, the people who see everything as problematic in some way or another, and the people who think that it's okay to do something about it, in the sense of, instead of just speaking out against how you don't like it, and how you think it's affecting people, these people just go for the throat. They go for the jugular. They attack. There's no other term but attack. And they're not physically attacking her. It is just on the internet. But there's, it's super tough to say where the line is between criticism and hatred, and where, someone sharing their opinion breaches into piling on and becoming a hate mob. And it's so tough to say where it happens, but don't to the point where someone wants to commit suicide is obviously way over the line, and it's just a disgusting situation all around, and very sad, and very much these people that think they're standing up, they think they're defending people who are, I guess, plus-sized people. They think they're defending them in trying to say, no, Rose is this, and drawing her otherwise is offending these people. They think they're protecting these people, when in reality, all they're doing is attacking someone else. You're trying to solve bullying by bullying. Except the person who is originally bullying drew a piece of artwork that you didn't like. You know, and that's where these people are so messed up in the heads, where they think that they think that just maybe something could potentially hurt some other people's feelings, so in response they need to actually go out and attack other people. It's so messed up, and I'm rambling, and I apologize. This video might just be a mess, but I wanted to say something before I chickened out and before I was, I don't know. I just you know, I'm very sorry that this ever had to come to this, to this poor girl, and I'm sorry if you've ever made art that made people so upset that they felt the need to make personal attacks on you, because that's so not right. You know, I mean, unless you're out there preaching to murder people and just put people to death, there is, or physically harm them, there is no excuse. If you are drawing something that's a stereotype or like racist or sexist or something, you know what? Maybe it's wrong, but that's your right as an artist to portray whatever you want to portray, and people have a right to call it out and say what they want. But God, there's such a line, and it's so, yeah. All right. Pie Guy Rules out.